Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video. Today's video, I am going to be going through and ranking all of the Pokeballs in the Pokemon games. Not the animes or the movies or anything like that, just the video games. So I have a list of all the Pokeballs here. I believe there's 27 of them if I've counted correctly. But yeah, we are just going to start. So we're starting with the Pokeball. Now to me, the Pokeball is an amazing ball. If you guys haven't watched any of my streams or my videos, I like to catch all of my legendaries and Pokeballs because I think it's funny. I really think it's a solid design. So for me, it is a solid A tier Pokeball. Moving on to the Great Ball, and this might be a little bit of a controversial take, but I am not a huge fan of the Great Ball, although it is a bit better than the Pokeball. To me, the design just looks a little bit weird, especially with the red kind of up at the top, kind of protruding out. For me, it's one of my least favorite. I'm going to have to throw it into the F tier. Ultra Ball is up next, and the Ultra Ball is kind of in the same ballpark as the Great Ball. I'm not a huge fan of the Ultra Ball, but I still think it is a solid D tier ball. The Ultra Ball itself, sure, it's like a 2x Pokeball, but I just like the challenge of using a Pokeball over a Great Ball. The Master Ball, to me, is definitely a B tier Pokeball. One of the only Pokeballs that fails or never fails to catch. It has a really cool design. I do like the M on it, and it just looks so different from the other ones with the purple and then the pink up at the top. I think the Master Ball is a nice B tier Pokeball. The Safari Ball is up next, and I like the Safari Ball quite a bit. You know, the Safari Ball, up until, I believe, Generation 8, Sword and Shield, it could not be obtained outside of Safari Zones. But I really like the design of it, the camo design, as well as the effect it gives off when Pokemon come out into battle with this ball. And for me, it's actually a B tier sitting in there with the Master Ball. We do have the Level Ball up next, and I really like the Level Ball. It has a cool design, in my opinion, but it kind of has the same color scheme as the Ultra Ball once again, but I do like the design better than the Ultra Ball. So for me, it does go a little above the Ultra Ball, sitting in the C tier. Up next, we have the Lure Ball. And the Lure Ball actually is going to be sitting in the A tier with the Pokeball. I like the color blue, and I think it meshes well with the red and yellow that it has at the top there. So for me, the Lure Ball is strongly an A tier. The Moon Ball. The Moon Ball is one of my favorite Pokeballs. I especially like having it on Umbreon, just because Umbreon is the Moonlight Pokemon. So having an Umbreon and a Moon Ball is really cool to me. So if it's on an Umbreon, it's in the double S tier. However, just a normal Moon Ball for me sits strongly in the B tier. Next, we have the Friend Ball. The Friend Ball is up next. And the Friend Ball itself, I mean, it does have a cool effect with setting the caught Pokemon's friendship to 200. But other than that, I mean, it's just a green Pokeball with some red kind of sprinkled on the top. I'm not a huge fan of the Friend Ball. So for me, it's going to sit with the Ultra Ball in the D tier. Next, we have the Love Ball. And prior to Generation A, I would have probably put the Love Ball into the C tier. However, the Love Ball is actually one of my favorite balls to put Pokemon into. I just love the design. I like the animation that is used when a Pokemon comes out of it. So for me, the Love Ball goes strongly into the S tier. Up next, we have the Heavy Ball here. And the Heavy Ball for me also sits in the F tier, just because in terms of usability, there aren't a whole lot of... I mean, you can't really use it on a whole lot of Pokemon. The Heavy Ball itself is hard to understand, but basically, unless a Pokemon weighs over 400 pounds, or no, over 600 pounds is what it is, if I remember correctly. Unless a Pokemon weighs about 600 pounds, it doesn't really affect it at all. In fact, it has a negative catch rate for any Pokemon under 200 pounds. So for me, I wouldn't ever use a heavy ball on a Pokemon. So for me, it sits in the F tier. Up next is the Sport Ball. Now, prior to Generation 8, along with the Safari Ball, it could only be used during bug catching competitions. However, the design is still very simple. It is just a Pokeball with the S on it. And as much as I like the Pokeball, I think the Sport Ball sits strongly in the C tier, as again, it is just a Pokeball with an S stamped onto the top. Up next, we have the Fastball here. Now, the Fastball is an interesting ball, as it hasn't really worked as it was intended to. It was initially used to have a 4x catch modifier on Pokemon that could flee, but only worked on like 3 of them, from my understanding. The Fastball here has the same issue as the Sport Ball, as it is just a lightly colored, or it's about a lightly colored Pokeball with some yellow splotches on the side. So for me, the Sport Ball, or rather the Fastball, also sits in the C tier with the Sport Ball. Up next is the Premier Ball, and this might also be a hot take, but I'm just not a big fan of the Premier Ball. Now, if you have watched my Nuzlockes, you do know that I only buy 10 Pokeballs at a time to ensure that we get the free Premier Ball with it. But to me, the Premier Ball is just a different color looking Pokeball, and I don't quite like the design as much as I do of the normal Pokeball. So for me, it does sit in the F tier with both the Great Ball and the Heavy Ball. Up next is the Repeat Ball, and the Repeat Ball for me sits strongly in B tier. The Repeat Ball has some good uses if you are trying to catch the same Pokemon over and over. So when it comes to chain hunting in Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, or just trying to catch good Dittos in Sword and Shield, the Repeat Ball is the best one to use. So for me, it does sit at a B tier, just due to how universal it is and how strong it is at catching Pokemon if you've already caught them before. And if you've played a lot of Pokemon and you've completed the Pokedex, chances are you have every Pokemon. So just use a Repeat Ball and you get a 3.5 times multiplier on any Pokemon you're trying to catch. The Timer Ball is up next. Now, the Timer Ball itself, I'm going to put in the D tier. It is not a Pokeball you would want to use often, as it isn't that good until you reach 10 turns. And if you're trying to catch Pokemon for 10 turns, well, you just got a lot of bad luck. For me, I don't think I would ever try and catch a Pokemon in a Timer Ball, as there are quite a few balls on here that I do like more. Up next is the Nest Ball. Now, the Nest Ball for me is going to sit in the C tier, as to me, it is just a worse looking Safari Ball. And I do like the Safari Ball look a lot. So to me, the Nest Ball just reminds me of a kind of a copy of a Safari Ball. And as I have noted previously with the Sport Ball and the Fastball, Pokeballs that are just copies of a pre-existing one do tend to rank a little bit lower in my book. The Netball is up next, and I actually really like the look of the Netball. It only does get a boost if you're trying to catch water or bug type Pokemon, but the design of it is pretty cool, having a blue top with like a black netting around it. It is a ball that I do enjoy using if I am catching water or bug type Pokemon. Up next is the Dive Ball. Now, the Dive Ball for me sits in the B tier. It fulfills similar roles to that of the Netball, as it is used to catch Pokemon that you have found while surfing or fishing, but I just like the design of the Netball over the Dive Ball, so for that reason, it is going a tier lower than the Netball. Up next is the Luxury Ball. Now for me, the Luxury Ball sits solidly in the A tier. Had you asked me a couple years ago where I would have put it, it probably would have been up in the S tier. But I still do enjoy using the Luxury Ball, as to me, it's like a status symbol. It is used by those who have too much money and want to buy a Pokeball with really no extra added benefit to it, other than the fact that it does double the rate of Pokemon's friendship. It's just a cool looking ball in my opinion. the Heal Ball is up next. And to me, the Heal Ball also sits in the F tier. The Heal Ball, by design, is an interesting Pokeball, as it fully restores the caught Pokemon's HP, PP, and restores its status, but the Pokemart can do the same thing. If we were ranking this in like a Nuzlocke form where you couldn't use the Pokemon Center, then the Heal Ball would definitely go into the SS tier. However, where it stands right now, and the fact that you are able to use Poke Centers whenever you want, it is just never a ball that I would use. So for me, it sits in the F tier. The Quick Ball is up next. And for me, this sits in the B tier as well. The Quick Ball itself has a 5x catch rate on the first turn of battle. So it is very effective if you use it on the first turn. However, anywhere after the first turn, it's just a Pokeball. So if you don't catch it on the first turn, you're really not going to be using the Quick Ball after that. So for me, it does sit in a B tier. The Dusk Ball is up next. Now, I'm not a big fan of the Dusk Ball. It's just, it has bad memories for me of encountering way too many Zubats early on in my Pokemon days. So the Dusk Ball for me does sit in the D tier. And that's really all I have to say about the Dusk Ball. Up next is the Cherish Ball. And the Cherish Ball is by far my favorite looking Pokeball. The Cherish Ball itself is a Pokeball that can only be obtained on event Pokemon, therefore making it even rarer than all of these other Pokeballs, as only a select few Pokemon can use a Cherish Ball, where basically every other Pokemon in these games can have any of these balls on it. The Cherish Ball itself sits in the double S tier for me. Up next is the Park Ball. Now, I really like the Park Ball, so it is going to be going into the A tier for me. The Park Ball does give me fond memories of when I first played through Sinnoh way back when, as it was the ball used to catch your Pokemon in the PAL Park. So all of the Pokemon that I had in the Hoenn region all were brought up in Park Balls, and that just gave me some sentimental value for the Park Ball. So it does sit in the A tier for me. Up next is the Dream Ball, one of the newer additions being added in the 5th generation. The Dream Ball for me sits solidly in S tier with the Heart Ball. These are two of my favorite balls to have Pokemon in, as the animation that is used when they come out just looks really amazing to me. So it sits in the S tier for that reason. Last, but certainly not least, is the Beast Ball. And the Beast Ball sits strongly in the S tier as well. The Beast Ball is just one of those balls that was introduced back in Generation 7. And I was instantly in love with it. I remember not catching all of the Ultra Beasts and just stacking Pokeballs, or stacking these Beast Balls rather, onto every Pokemon in my PC so I could just have an unlimited supply of them. I would go through and catch every Pokemon I could in the Beast Balls, which I haven't done with any of these other Pokeballs, except maybe the actual Pokeball. So that is my tier list. Let me know in the comments down below where you guys rate the Pokeballs. What is your favorite Pokeball? Let me know that in the comments down below as well. Which one of these Pokeballs is your favorite Pokeball? I would love to know what you guys think of my tier list. And again, this is my opinion, so if your opinion differs from mine, that is okay. This is my ranking, and I would love to see your own. So guys, thank you all so much for watching this video, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye!